Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Lynn Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's a little windy out here. I'm out in my backyard, and I've got the sprinkler going, like right over here. You can hear some outdoor sounds, and I thought you would just come and relax with me in this little outdoor oasis on this. Is it midsummer? It's past midsummer's day in the middle of August. Grab yourself a drink. I have myself Olipop. This time I have tropical punch. It's sweating like a vacation for your taste buds. Tropical punch perfectly balances. We're going to be talking about perfectly balancing pineapple, passion fruit, mandarin, and apple juice for crisp, juicy, and nostalgic. We're going to be talking about nostalgia flavor reminiscent of your favorite childhood fruit punch. No wonder I chose this. Okay, so before we just start jumping in, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who's returning, always here to share in the fun and magic that is the TLC for the Soul family. If you're new here, settle in. And if you vibe with our tribe, then yay, keep coming back for more because there's lots to offer here on this show. Cracking open the Olipop. Tropical punch. All right. Right now, let's just get into let's get into a relaxing space together. I brought some crystals for us to work with. I wanted to show up today. It's getting cloudy, so I could actually film outside. It's not too hot. I'm wrapping us all in love light and light love. Inviting the spirit guide to overlight this show. Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and more. We've got some new friends showing up today for today's show. One of the things I've started doing differently, so I'm going to start jumping right in, and one of the things I've started doing differently just this week, I was guided to start doing my life by moon phases rather than by weeks. And I'm charting and journaling like how my energy works, especially my creative energy and just my overall physical energy works by the different phases of the moon. And you may already do this. And in a minute, I think we're going to see the little sprinkler walk by. You may already do this, and it may be totally different for you. But right now, what I'm finding is in the that phase leading up to the full moon, I'm like super active. So you may have noticed, well, maybe you didn't, you may not, but I did. I charted. So as part of my like full moon ritual, I wrote down all of my accomplishments from the new moon to the last new moon to full moon. And I created was creating like 3 or 4 videos a week for our group, for our channel, in addition to my other 2 channels, in addition to my books and cards that I was working on. And now we're in the phase between the full moon and the new moon. I find that energy level has come down slightly. And I may only get, my goal is to have 1 or 2 videos this week, and I'm really more focused on some healing work that I'm doing on my physical body, in addition to more writing and more card making, because I do have goals to finish Mabon and Murder by the autumn equinox. So yesterday, because we have been working with my upcoming book, Maybon and Murder, for our energy forecasts, I channeled in a very, very interesting chapter. So if you're new here, wow, the wind comes and tips everything over. If you're new here, I might need a rock or something for my shoe work. Hold on, gotta secure everything. If you're new here, everything went haywire. I write books. This is just, okay, this is shit is not going as expected. So there's some weird stuff going on too. I have to speak to all of this, but I do write books. They're channeled, but we use them as part of our energy updates for the show. And so when I share them with you all, that's the current energies that are happening right now. I have to show this little tractor thing. Look, and my grass is horribly dead. Like, it's just trembling across the yard. I'm going to see if I'm going to get wet. Gosh darn it. There's something bugging me about this too. Okay, perfection. And there's so much happening right now. All right, and we're only 6 months in. Or more than 6 months in. Okay, so let me get my thoughts straight. We've got an interesting chapter of the current energies happening right now. In addition to the fact that with this full moon that came up, this just past one in Aquarius, I've really felt like as a whole, we were being guided to do this kind of year in review that we typically would have done like at the halfway point of the year, if you're working with a calendar year. But for whatever reason, that was kind of like held off. It is getting wet. That was kind of held off until now. And I felt like as part of my full moon stuff, I did a whole lot of what have I accomplished this year, which and what is yet to, and then creating new goals. Because what I found is everything I wrote down as something I wanted to manifest for 2022 at the beginning of the year in January, 90% of those things had manifested from my list. And I was like, whoa, we are manifesting quicker now, faster now than we ever were before, where it may have taken like the whole year to manifest everything. It just seems like almost everything on the list is done, and there's a couple of really big things that have not manifested yet, but I believe in my heart of hearts they are going to manifest before the end of the year. So that would be 100% of my goals, and maybe even before the end of the year, meaning everything on my list, I manifested everything on my list, in like 75%, 50%, 75% of the time. So I was guided to create a pretty much brand new list of things, since my list was already pretty much done. And I had a long list. I had a very long list of things. It wasn't a short list. And I wasn't super specific, like write book ABC or whatever, but I had like wider, overarching goals. And then in those, a lot of little things ended up being... Get off me. Being the perils of outdoor camera shooting. Holy smokes. Okay. So there's a lot going on in the astrology right now. That the many retrogrades happening are causing a lot of different things. Chiron retrograde specifically impacting me. I don't know about you guys, but working a lot in the physical body for the next 2 weeks. So when I did, and this is what I want to do here for you guys, is let's talk about the next, not necessarily 2 weeks, but between whenever you're watching this, which I'm recording it on Tuesday, the 16th, this little thing that we're going to talk about here goes until the day before the new moon. So right around the 25th or so is what we're talking about in terms of the energy coming through. But it's the Chiron retrograde feels really strongly, and it seems like even earlier than typical. Well, we're always doing shadow work, but a lot of times, it's considered autumn and fall time and is like shadow work time, and I feel like that's coming out even earlier now. And the overarching card I got for this time period is this balance, work, rest, and play. And that's going to come out in the channeling too. And the yellow rose has been a big flower friend, flower fairy ally for us ever since I did the whispered ASMR video of the Creative Fall Altar with me. So if you haven't heard that one's really fun. Because I feel like there's a lot of heaviness going on. Obviously, we know in the collective there's always heaviness too, but even personally, there's a lot of things to take a look at. With the nostalgia, there's things coming back up again with these retrogrades to be healed, and it's not just little things. This card says it's important for you to have fun along with fulfilling your responsibilities, and part of the healing that's coming up right now is more past life stuff that we thought we had already cleared coming back up again. So for example, so whatever this is something that you were working on back in 2021, so last year, and maybe you thought you had completed that healing, and what's happening is that thing is coming back up again. It's like whatever it was that was being healed. Oh, it's a ladybug. Oh, I don't know what it is. It's time bombing me. Whatever you thought had been healed is more deeply ingrained in your chakras and in your Akash than you thought it was. I don't want to go too into details of my own personal experience, but like for me, it's causing physical symptoms because it's blocked energy. And so I thought, it took me all of 2021 to deal with this. I thought I was done with that particular issue. And now it's like new information has surfaced about that scenario, which is causing more blocked energy. And it's just like, what is going on here? And so I had to call in a whole a whole healing team to work with me on this, because it's like, well, this has to be healed. This has got to happen. This has got to happen for many different reasons. So you may find you're going back to, I just saw 1221, so that's mirrored energy. So some of you may be saying like, yeah, I'm feeling exactly like you are, or you're resonating with this. This is coming up for you. I have to be able to function, so I have to be able to be healed. And for me personally, everybody's different. There's no judgment. I don't want anybody. But for me personally, like if there's pain in my body, I don't pop a Tylenol or I need more what is that called? Like hands-on physical healing work done, but I don't have access to that right now. So I need a shamanic practitioner, like hands-on. I need a body work person hands-on. I need some Rolfing, totally not available in my area, and I need a really good kinesiologist, not available in my area. Okay, so I don't have any of those practitioners and gurus around me right now. I know I need them, so that's some goals set up for the future. But I don't, pop a Tylenol or take a pill or whatever. I don't want to mask the symptoms. I want to feel where they're at, because that tells me what chakras are impacted. And that also tells me that if I thought I had healed those things and they're coming back again, then there's more clearing work that has to be done, because everything that manifests in the physical is a result of something that's happening. It starts in the spiritual and works its way down, down, down. And the physical is like the last place you feel it. And sometimes things are so deeply embedded in the chakras from past life work, could be ancestral stuff that needs to happen too, that these things slowly start to, especially the more spiritual work you're doing, the more meditation, the more of your spiritual practice you're doing, these things start bubbling up again. with the help of these astrological transits, bubbling up again to show you where things still have not been completely cleared. It's like an onion. Don't feel like, they're saying don't feel like a failure because you have to do this again, because I was a little miffed. I'm like, damn it, I thought I'd done this crap, or I really was getting irritated. I'm like, I thought I'd done this already. And now I'm having these issues again. And so I just have to come into a place of acceptance about it. And, you know, it's easier to work with when you can understand where it's coming from. And everybody here lives in multiple realities simultaneously. The majority of people that watch me realize that you're multidimensional beings. You understand there's a spiritual perspective of things, and you can pull way up high and dial and look down and see from a higher perspective why things are happening. You can see karmic ties and connections. You can see energy, you can feel energy, you can sense energy. Most of you, the majority of you, are advanced practitioners. Yeah, so many chills. It's like, this is not your first rodeo, so you know how to do this. But you have to remind yourself to stay up there. And then sometimes, you know, you have to like come down a little bit and get stuff done in the 3D world, where you can't always be like airy fairy all the time. Although I strive to have the majority of my day be airy fairy. So that's my happy place. All right, I want to read this channeling, this chapter, because I thought it was just very complex. And sometimes the metaphors and things I'm seeing may not apply to everyone, but I do want you to, as always, put on your master senses as you're listening to this chapter, because there's many monads in here. Meaning a monad, I say that a lot, and I'm truly wondering, like, do people know what I'm talking about? A monad, for me, when I say a monad, it's like Spirit's delivering a downloaded packet of information, and if you choose to partake in it, many different downloads and synchronicities and serendipities and meanings and healing and things and magic are available to you within that packet of information. And so this particular chapter that I'm going to share with you is many monads in one, and you can choose one or all of them, or you can, a lot of you guys I know come back to these periodically, so this may be one you want to bookmark or save for later, and come back and once you digest one thing, you may want to come back and decide to work with something else. The little oh, there it is. Now you can see it. All right, because this was very complex when I was writing it, and I've got 1212 again. So I had 1221 and I've got 1212 again. Is that a divine feminine? I don't know. Sometimes with some of these numbers, but it breaks down to a 3-3. As I was channeling this, I was like, holy smokes, what's happening here? What is going on because this channeling then is for what's going on during this time period, like I said, from now, that when you see it, Tuesday the 16th till about the 25th, or if you want to use it as a timeless and work with the monads of this download, then I would say take a good 14 days to play with the energies of whatever download you're working with here, because it's going to take you that long to unpack the download, the monad, and to work with all of the serendipities and synchronicities and the messages and the spiritual teachings that are meant for you as a part of this. So this is Mabon and Murder. Just a quick come up, and it's just a quick bringing you up to speed. Last we left Abigail and Dakar, our bringers of the light. Come on, bugs. They were at the Autumn Festival. Abigail did not win first place. Her pickle mickle tart lost to Joe's hot and tasty chili. And she was a little disappointed about that. All right, bugs, get out of here. She was a little disappointed about that. They're coming for my tropical punch. But it was enchanted chili. We don't know who the enchanter was. Well, Dakar thinks he knows. His old nemesis / paramour Maggie Chalmers came wanting a favor. We don't know what that is. In the midst of all the enchanted chili stuff happening, Polly Willikers and Scratchy appear. Polly is like an older woman in Abigail's coven, specter and book. Scratchy is her tabby cat familiar, who's been with her for quite some time. And they show up and say, somebody's been shot. And then we just kind of leave that. And then the other day, if you haven't heard it, I posted a short about chapter 3 of this same book. I was going back and editing manuscripts. And chapter 3 was all about Scratchy and fun with familiars, and how the familiars were kind of doing all these things we weren't really aware of behind the scenes. And the familiars in all of my books, and especially in this Bringers of the Light series, always seem to have these hidden identities and things. It's quite interesting to me. So it was no surprise that, hold on, I have to find it here. It was no surprise then that the next chapter we're channeling is chapter 9. These chapters always seem to have a significance in what's going on too. So we have 9, a number of ending, almost completion, but not quite completions yet. And the chapter we brought in is the story of Scratchy Willikers. So if you're new here, all of these things are channeled by like automatic writing. I don't plan them out. I don't know. I just sit with my team and the team of in this case, the book, and I let them kind of feed me the story, and I just type it out as I'm getting it, just like I am any channeled messages I'd be delivering to you. I'm watching this little thing. It's going to get stuck on the fence here in a little bit. All right, let's read the story of Scratchy Willikers. Put on your master senses. I just saw, oh, never mind. I just saw 3-3 again, 21-21. The story of Scratchy Willikers. I will try to unpack whatever metaphors I feel are meant for all of us. And outside of that, you can gather and glean whatever you want from this. One dark night, back in 1979, young witch Polly Willikers was getting her disco groove on. She had dressed the part of a young teenage girl and looked every bit of it in her flare dress and platform sandals. Hold on. Okay, I decided to stop the sprinkler because the sound was kind of bugging me. So let me finish reading this, and then I do have some cards to pull and some crystals for us. So Polly, it's 1979 nostalgia. We were talking about that. She had dressed the part of a young teenage girl and looked every bit of it in her flare dress and platform sandals. Who could really know that she was a very powerful witch of 127 years who had become enchanted with a youthing spell after her last relationship had gone horribly wrong? Count Mashar's brother, Wilhelm Breckensworth, had told her that he would stay with her forever. Count Mashar coming back. Think people coming back from the past. Count Mashar was in the very first Bringers the Light episode almost a year ago. William Breckensworth had told her that he would stay with her forever. He'd even given her a huge shield-cut diamond ring and asked her to marry him, getting down on one knee and pledging himself to her like the chivalrous knight that he was. One Samhain Eve, Wilhelm had been summoned to the castle of his older brother, Count Mashar. He had ridden out in full regalia, and he had never returned. Polly was cast into the deepest of darkest nights one could ever imagine, as she had sincerely and wholeheartedly trusted Wilhelm. She vowed, and we know, friends, the strength of a vow, that she would never love another man again. She would live the remainder of her life alone, and if anyone even tried to access her heartstrings again, she would send them packing. And then Polly started to age. At first it was a stray white witch hair here and there, and then a whole white patch at her temple, and Polly panicked. She found her courage to leave her home and venture out in search of something, anything that could help stop this aging. Why, she wasn't sure. Of course, she didn't care for a suitor, so that part didn't matter. But Polly did not want to get older, and she found herself wondering what the future might bring, what magical inventions and sweet treats might await her, oh, maybe 200 years from now. She chose her best horse, Miss Penelope Rides Softly, and packed a small rucksack. She was determined to find the hidden grotto of youthing and charm. This magical grotto was said to be fostered by a gallant and very charming angel witch who remains nameless as of this missive. The angel witch who we'll call Mariposa tended the grotto and the holy waters there. She had been given divine dispensation to allow 10 travelers a decade, 1010, to drink of the youthing waters of the grotto. Polly took out her enchanted compass and her dowsing rod and nudged Miss Penelope Rides Softly westward, for every magical grotto of sacred waters lies in the west of somewhere. Polly came across a portal door when she reached the Southern Cross, and by order of her wand and the fact that she was karmically entitled to good fortune, was allowed to cross over the threshold. It was several more days of camping out under the stars, eating toadstool soup and wild blackberry tart, that Polly started to hear the sounds of tinkling magic waters. She was certain this was the hidden grotto of youthing and charm. The angel witch had sensed as soon as Polly had crossed the threshold that her next benefactor of the youthing waters was near. Mariposa prepared the sacred chalice and waited patiently, saying prayers to the universal God source to help open the gate that would allow the sacred waters to flow into the chalice. Polly and Miss Penelope Rides Softly reached the border of the grotto lands. 4 large and very powerful dogs surrounded her. She took a deep breath and called out, "I've come for that which is due me by the benevolence of the karmic lords," she said quite proudly, because she had done a whole bunch of good service work for the people of her town through her prayers and healing work. Mariposa granted her access, and the 4 hounds withdrew and went to frolicking and playing like young pups. Polly dismounted, and Penelope Rides Softly took her rest under a large chestnut tree. Mariposa didn't have much to say. She wiped the chalice with a soft cloth and motioned for Polly to kneel at her feet. Mariposa filled the chalice with the youthing and charms water and looked down at Polly. Polly said a prayer of gratitude and surrender, and taking the chalice to her lips, she drank. Youthing and charm waters permeated her entire being from the I Am Presence all the way to the cells, blood, and bones. Polly's gray hairs turned to their crimson brown, and the wrinkles of grief and anger smoothed. She felt radiant to her very core. "And now," Mariposa said gently, "you are renewed, and you must pay this kind gesture forward till the end of your days." Polly rose and bowed her head to Mariposa and the grotto of youthing and charm, for she recognized a divine being when she encountered one. The grotto dimmed and shimmered, and Polly took her leave, climbing back onto Miss Penelope Rides Softly and gently trotting out of enchanted lands and back over the threshold. Many years passed, and Polly looked younger and more radiant each year, helping many souls near and far on their healing spiritual journey. Never taking on a lover or friend, she had chosen a solitary path. Until that one fine evening at Rockaway Point's only disco bar. I don't know, you couldn't say it. Jiggly Wiggles. I told them, you guys, I'm not going to say this. I'm going to say this. Jiggly Wiggles. Now we go from, okay, just to point out, we go from whatever deep shadow work is involved in that first part of this channeling into what we just talked about with the yellow rose, the balancing work, rest, and play. Jiggly Wiggles held a disco line dance contest every Saturday night, and Polly felt like getting her groove on. She had forgotten long ago how old she actually was in physical years, and she was certain that she was going to have a birthday soon, although she couldn't recall the exact date. The velvet flare dress flattered her body, and the cute platform sandals with a wild mushroom applique on the toes made her feel like dancing. It helped that they had been made for her by the fairies of Lemonlock some time ago in payment for Polly removing an old troll who had been misbehaving quite wretchedly in the glen, pulling up the special plants the fairies had sown there and munching them down quite haphazardly while cursing rather harsh and hurtful words towards the younger fairies as they hunted for toadstools. Jiggly Wiggles was playing the best disco songs of the 70s as Polly pulled up to the valet parking in her convertible Jag. She felt like kicking up her heels and ordering a new drink that all the townsfolk had been talking about. This drink, you guys, I'm telling you, if you're trying to call in a love spell, I got that card this morning, time to call in love spell, time to call in a new love. She felt like kicking up her heels and ordering a new drink that all townsfolk had been talking about. The old Maritimer was said to have a magic spell upon each one that would call in a lover from the shores and wild ocean off of Rockaway Point Bay. Now, Polly didn't want a lover, but she was intrigued about who might just show up if she happened to engage in such a magical drink. There were stories of schooners, yachts, and sailboats all unexpectedly docking in at Rockaway Point Marina, having lost sight of the lighthouse. Each sailor, sea captain, and seafarer coming ashore and making their way firsthand to the exact location of the person who had partaken of the most recent old Maritimer drink. Polly sauntered up to the bar and, shushing aside several requests to dance the jiggle boogie, asked the quite handsome bartender for an old Maritimer. "You're brave," was all he said, for he usually cautioned anyone from ordering the drink. He was even a little uncertain how the drink had gotten on the secret menu in the first place. He was only allowed to serve one if he could discern that the drinker could handle the results. And for this, he had a huge tabby cat who had befriended him one night after his shift had ended, and he had taken a walk home through the mists off the moors towards Tessa Lock. Scratchy, who was then being called Mr. Tabby by the young bartender because he didn't really want a cat. But for some reason, Scratchy/Mr. Tabby wouldn't leave his side. The bartender pulled down the lighthouse-shaped mug and poured the ingredients in to create the old Maritimer. The final touch was to blow one single word into the mug, to sound a small foghorn that he normally used to signal drink specials, and one tap from Scratchy/Mr. Tabby's front paw. The drink glowed like the ocean on a moonlit night, and the potion inside swelled up like a wave coming onto shore. Polly took the mug and winked at the barkeep. She's getting sassy. She took several long, slow sips and put the mug down. She waited, and nothing. She didn't feel anything. Yet. She took one last long drink, finishing the brew, and passed the mug back to the bartender. The foghorn sounded in the bay, and the dance club seemed to pulse with a freshness like that of an ocean breeze. Holy shit. Sorry. A scrap and Monogamy grasshopper just came right here. Oh, don't get on me. Scratchy. Oh, okay. Scratchy/Mr. Tabby felt weird inside. He coughed and wheezed slightly. Darn those summer allergies. Okay, it's not lost to me the spirit animals showing up here, okay? We have these grasshoppers that are everywhere, and we have crickets everywhere, both signs of fast movement and very big luck and good karma. Scratchy/Mr. Tabby felt weird inside. He coughed and wheezed slightly. Darn those summer allergies. He has a problem with hairballs. He jumped down off the bar and stationed himself outside the entrance to Jiggly Wiggles. Polly danced to a few songs and then decided to go sit down by the wharf to see if any ships, schooners, or sailors might accidentally come ashore. The fog creeped slowly into town, and after several hours, Polly grew tired of waiting. She went back to Jiggly Wiggles and retrieved her Jag from the valet. Scratchy jumped swiftly into the back seat of the convertible as Polly passed by. He wasn't sure why he was doing so, only that something had called to him again from beyond the beyond, telling him that he must, without a shadow of a doubt, take that leap. And so without hesitation, he had made himself known to Polly. She was slightly disappointed at first that no seafaring sailor showed up at her door, but rather she formed a strong friendship and bond with Scratchy as she started calling him. And Scratchy, slowly realizing that Polly wanted nothing to do with suitors or love, decided he would remain a cat for as long as it took for her to change her mind. Oh, crap. Oh, my God. I don't know if I'm the only one that gets a kick out of these stories, but geez Louise. Every time I read one, I'm like, they're so good. All right, so I know we've been on here for quite some time, and you guys have other stuff to do with your day, too. So I did want to pull in just quickly. I've got Shaman's Drum. That's my deck. Maybe it doesn't have to be quick. Why do I always have to be quick? If you don't want to watch the whole thing, you don't have to, right? You can come back later. You can pause it and come back when you're ready. Gil Tarot. And Lebland, that's my deck. I want to see what's going on. I also want to pull out, we were talking about this whole, I grabbed the other one. Maybe I just got these. No, I had a third. Oh, weird. I thought I had another one. Maybe I only got these two. When we first started this show, I was talking about transformation and working deep in the chakras, bringing out stuff that we thought we'd already worked with, and the stones that wanted to show up for this tells me it's old stuff. This sea anemone little guy, this is a fossilized stone, so we don't know how old this little critter is, showing up to support your journey, as well as the golden healer quartz. I do find it interesting that they're both round. Again, it feels very divine feminine kind of work. Well, any kind of going within, doing the kind of work I'm talking about is more on the divine feminine side. It's inward work, which fits to me with this moon phase that we're in. This time between the full moon and the new moon is a good time to do this kind of work. And because these are both yellowish, a lot of what we're doing here, and we've got the yellow rose, I feel ultimately, no matter what chakra the healing needs to be done for, ultimately it's going to increase our lower dantian, our lower energy center, especially the solar plexus chakra, bringing us more into our power, more confidence, because I think, especially when I'm talking about physical healing, if you can, you can touch base with me, because I've set up some protocols. I set up protocols with clients on how to do this, but right now my guides have given me my own particular protocol. It's a 7-day at a time thing. And I'm going to get rid of this stuck energy that's causing me this physical pain. And the more you can do that and see results, learning to heal yourself, the more your confidence. What in the heck kind of animal is that? The more your confidence is. Do you hear that? What is that? The more your confidence is going to increase. This animal has shown up before, some sort of bird, but I don't know what it is. All right, so let's just get a few cards from the Gil Tarot. So I would say any stones you want to work with personally during this time that are round, and these look like moons too, in a way, like full moons. That is the weirdest sound. That are round and possibly yellow are going to be helpful during this time. Just see what the cards want to share. I have to kind of batten down the hatches here. Hold on, put this crystal on top of this card. Oh golly. Well-being. And look at all the round circles. So any of those particular, or maybe all of them, colors standing out to you, because those are the chakra. We're missing a chakra there. There's grasshopper back again. I would call the center like the crown. I would do that. Anything standing out to you, there might be chakras that have to be dealt with. And if it was me, oh, it is me because I already did this. I called in a healing team. So Archangel Raphael, I'm working with Master Hilarion, I'm working with the Arcturians, I'm working with the Lemurians. And there's some I think that I don't know really who they are. They're just part of my team, but they don't make themselves known to me. Create a healing team. So if you're not, maybe I need to do a series on how to create a healing protocol, how to gather a healing team, how to discern and determine and get the downloads on what it is that needs to be healed. If you guys are interested in seeing like a video like that, let me know in the comments. I just assume when I do these things that everybody knows what to do, but that's not possible. I should not make those assumptions. So if that's a video you'd be interested in, I could certainly put that together. How to create your own healing protocol. That's something I guess we would call it. I'm going to do Love Land. So well-being is important at this time. We've already talked about that. The chakras. Oh, the mind. I got this too. So we got the mind. So if overthinking and attachments are clouding your perspective, time to clear the mental body. Meditation will bring in higher vibrations. Meditation would help you discern what's going on with your body. Meditation will help. If you don't do anything in terms of a healing protocol, then meditation over time would eventually clear all these things out. But I don't have time to wait for that because I've got to be able to function in my everyday life. And right now I've got some physical pain that needs to be dealt with. And so every day we're working on this to take care of it. So, so don't overthink it too. When I first connected with this group before this video, I got a lot of anxiety coming through. A lot of anxiety needs to be cleared. This could be old stuff. This could be new stuff. This could be, I wrote down like, is this even mine? This could be stuff that's not even yours that needs to be cleared. And then lastly, from Shaman's Drum, it's getting a little warm out here for me right now. I'm gonna have to like cut it short. Shaman's Drum, they're giving me 3 cards. I've got Peace Pipe. What is done, time to make amends. Navajo Wind Talkers, love is always the answer. And family, being with the ones you love is good medicine. This is telling me pretty much that this is familiar ancestral line stuff as well. That everything you're feeling may not be yours, but it may be coming up because you're the one that was tasked with coming here in this lifetime and clearing ancestral stuff. So yay, thanks. You get to kind of be the one to deal with these things. All right, friends, I think I'm going to cut it short because I'm really getting hot. That could be one of 2 reasons, but whew, it's feeling really warm out here. All right, I may do a separate video for us of some light language healing in a separate shorter one that you can just pull out the light language and use that during this time. But other than that, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. Really spend some time with that channeling if you want to dive more into that. And like I said, if you are interested in your own personal healing session where we can come up with healing protocols for you, definitely seek me out. All my services, everything I offer, all my cards, books, merch, what else do I have? Everything I do is listed in the links of the show description. All my services are there. Everything's there. If you're interested in a video where you want to just have me help you, walk you through how to create your own healing protocol, let me know in the comments below and we will jot that down as one of the next ones that we will work on together. I love you all very much. This could be a very, very fruitful time of inward work towards the new moon. And I will see you all again soon. Take care.